Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. And today we've got two replays for you because they're both a little on the short side. And the first one is, I got an email the other day from Phelan, who's a community manager in the Wargaming EU community team. And they've had an influx of new talent over at the Paris office of Wargaming, one of which is actually platooned up. There he is, or possibly there she is, that's Candley. I don't actually know whether Candley is a guy or a girl. But what the community team have been doing with the new team members is they've been taking them out into random battles for some training sessions and just see how they handle themselves in their tanks. So what we have here is Phelan and Candley, a new member of the Wargaming EU community team, taking the Sherman Fury out for a bit of a stretch on the step span. The tank was released to coincide with the Fury movie of the same name, starring Brad Pitt and Tiger 131. The movie's quite famous, not least of which because of certain pivotal scenes in the movie, including a scene where a Tiger tank commander decides to commit suicide by throwing away all of his advantages and closing to fight an Easy 8 at point blank range. And of course, who could forget the final scene in the movie where an entire battalion of crack German troops suddenly, for some inexplicable reason, forget how to aim their weapons and decide that the best possible place for all of their Panzerfaust anti-tank weapons would be not slung over their shoulders as they're marching to contact, but instead locked away and screwed into wooden boxes where they can't get at them when they need them. And of course, who could forget the German sniper who, heavily camouflaged and armed with a deadly accurate Kar98K rifle fitted with a Zeiss optical scope, crawls to within 15 feet of his target and takes 3 shots to kill him. Ah, Hollywood, Hollywood, don't ever change. Anyway, back to the battle. What's this tank actually like, by the way? Well, I can actually answer that question. It's alright. I think it's probably the best thing you could say about it. It's got one big advantage over the standard Easy 8 at Tier 6. The Fury can fit a vertical stabiliser. No other Tier 6 medium tank can. Relatively little opposition on this flank, but Phelan did spot an enemy tank on the ridge up ahead, so he advances forward to get under the ridge and out of line of fire of anybody providing any kind of overwatch fire to these two very unfortunate and isolated enemy tanks. But that Swedish tank destroyer, even though he's doomed, packs a fearsome punch with its 90mm gun and does do substantial damage to Phelan's tank before he's able to finish him off and then take the kill on the Skoda T24 as well. 2 nicely placed shots taking advantage of the pretty good mobility of the Fury. 2 down, plenty more to go. Phelan's first name, by the way, is Zoltan. I have to admit, I thought Zoltan was a made-up name. Seriously, I did. Why would you think that, Jingles? It's quite a common name in Eastern Europe. Well, I didn't know that, did I? I'm not from Eastern Europe. The first time I saw the name Zoltan was in the 1970s Hammer horror movie starring Christopher Lee and an Alsatian hound. Zoltan, Hound of Dracula. Honestly, I thought the name had been made up for the movie. Sorry, Phelan. But what can I say? It's true. Oh, hang on, T-34-85. That's an entirely different proposition from the T-28 who was running away from his 2 very unfortunate comrades earlier. Phelan backing off, taking advantage of the superb gun depression and the not too bad gun mantlet of the Easy 8. Oh, taking a hit from artillery, took his gunner out, can't have that. The accuracy of this 76mm gun? Well, it's not bad, but it's not good either. Oh, and there's one of the arty. He's gone. Blind shot? Yep, still in the same location. Got him. So, anyway, 3 kills. Let's see how long it takes before everybody starts calling him Zoltan, the Hound of Dracula on the forums. Jingles, abusing your power again. Well, that's what it's for. Oh, there's the T-34-85. He's thirsty for more. T-34-85 is a very, very good tank, but, well, the 76mm gun on this thing has no problems penetrating his armour, and even if you miss, the rate of fire is so good, you just keep firing. And there's kill number 4, and oh, took a cheeky hit from a T-150. There he is, sideways on. Scores 1 hit. T-150 then pulls back behind the rock and into cover. And that's when the Hound of Dracula takes a smack in the side of the turret from the 17-pounder gun of that Achilles. He pops a shot in his direction, scores a hit, but he's in a very, very tricky spot here as the Achilles pulls back behind the rock. He's caught in a crossfire with 5 health remaining between an Achilles and a T-150, which leaves him very little room to manoeuvre. And if that artillery didn't have problems from Candley, that you can just see on the back there, keeping the artillery suppressed, Phelan could have been in a lot of trouble. The T-150's poking out again. Phelan's looking for the shot at the side of the turret. And it's around about now where the T-150 appears to take leave of his senses. I mean, he's disappeared for the moment, he's no longer being spotted. Phelan turns around to see if he's got a shot at the Achilles, and look at the T-150. Yeah, that's right. If you're taking shots in the flank from a hidden 76mm gun, the best possible thing to do is to leave your concealment and then drive sideways on in front of that 76mm gun across the middle of an open field. Because apparently that makes sense on his planet. Well, anyway, a kill's a kill. Anyway, while we're here, I've got a question for you. Now, be honest. How many people have paused the video prior to this point and then gone onto the internet to check whether or not the German sniper in Fury was actually using a Kar 98K, whether or not he had a Zeiss optical scope fitted, and whether or not he put 3 or 4 shots into War Daddy at the end of the movie? How many of you paused the video and went to check just so you could come back in the comments and say, well, actually, Jingles. Come on, admit it. Confess. You're among friends here, we won't judge you. And while we're indulging the spirit of honesty and cooperation, I do have a confession of my own to make. While editing this video, I went to check out the movie Zoltan, Hound of Dracula, and Christopher Lee had nothing to do with it. It's a terrible movie. Christopher Lee wouldn't appear in trash like that, and also it wasn't an Alsatian. It was a Doberman and Pinscher, but the movie came out in 1978. I was 8 years old. I'm not expected to remember details like that. Wow. Is that 9 kills? That's 9 kills. Phelan, sorry, Zoltan, you're supposed to be assessing your teammates. You have to stop showing off. He's just showboating, isn't he? He actually sent this replay in with the suggestion that I might like to highlight games from Wargaming EU community members. I think what actually happened, you know, as if that was a good idea for a video series, I think what actually happened was he was giddy with excitement after getting the result that he got in this match, and he thought, I need the maximum possible amount of people to see it. Who can I send it to? Ah, Jingles, he's a sucker. And I'm laughing, but I fell for it. You're watching the video now. But, yeah, it's alright, it's okay, I don't bear grudges. I don't mind my popularity being exploited by the Wargaming EU community team. I will have my revenge. Phelan, you are Zoltan, Hound of Dracula from here on in. Everybody get to the forums and make it so. Still, 9 kills, can he make it 10? Oh, hero move there from the M4. 1 shot, 2 shots, he's got him. 10 kills, Fool's Medal, and the crowd goes wild. So, that was Zoltan, the Hound of Dracula, Wargaming EU Community Manager, playing to impress, showing off like a boss with Ace Tanker, Fool's Medal, High Caliber and Top Gun, when he was supposed to be taking the new guy Candley, or possibly new girl Candley, I'm not entirely sure which it is, out for a training session in a random battle in World of Tanks. But that brings us on to today's main feature. Now, I've had a bit of a theme developing in this week's videos. Overpowered vehicles. We've seen 2 in World of Warships, the USS Flint and the Imperator Nikolai I. But what about World of Tanks? Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give you Ghost of the Past in the Tier 7 Premium Soviet Tank Destroyer, the Su-122-44, also known as Stalin's Hammer. Why do they call it Stalin's Hammer, Jingles? Well, actually not many people do, but hey, you never know your luck. By the end of this video, maybe it'll become a thing. Wouldn't be the first time. Anyway, why is this tank overpowered, Jingles? Well, it's based on the chassis of the T-44, and it retains the T-44's excellent speed and manoeuvrability without having that big obvious turret on top, which also makes it very sneaky and very low profile. As well as that, the frontal armour is incredibly trollish. It's 90mm thick, but it's sloped back at an angle of 60 degrees. The side armour, 75mm thick, and is also sloped, although not to quite such an extreme angle, but particularly around the fighting compartment at the front of the vehicle. That's not going to present much of a problem to a large caliber gun, 100mm and up, but lower caliber guns, and we're talking 75, 76mm, unless they aim carefully, they're going to bounce shots even off the side of this tank destroyer. But none of that by itself makes this vehicle overpowered. What makes this vehicle overpowered is if you take that T-44 level of speed and manoeuvrability, the trollish front armour, and you add to it one of the best guns in World of Tanks. Now, On the surface, this is just your bog standard, straightforward Soviet 122mm D25T variant. But it's a variant. And what makes this thing special is the breech. The breech of this gun is modified in such a way, I don't know exactly how, but it allows this tank to fire 7.5 rounds per minute. That's a shot every 8 seconds, before taking into effect things like crew skills and equipment fits. 390 average damage every 8 seconds. The damage per minute on this thing is better than that of most of the tier 10 tank destroyers. But Jingles, hang on, it's still that, typical Russian 122mm gun. Terrible accuracy, terrible gun handling. Yes, it does have a 2.9 second aiming time. Yes, it does have 0.41 accuracy. And yes, it may only have 175mm of penetration, but let us not forget, this is a Russian 122mm gun. And aiming is for noobs. Did you see that? Remember, Russian accuracy in World of Tanks works differently to accuracy of every other nation's. The higher the number on a Russian vehicle, the more accurate it is, and the less time you have to spend aiming. Oh, hang on a second. Phone. Hello? Uh-huh. Yeah. Ah. Alright. So, that was the legal department. And apparently, I have to say that the views and opinions expressed in this video are purely my own, and in no way represent the views, positions or opinions of Wargaming.net or any of their employees, and should not be taken as fact. So, that's the lawyers happy. Wish the same could be said for this SU-152. 2 shots, done. I haven't actually sat here and timed the rate of fire that he has on this machine, but you can take it for granted that he's going to have the gun rammer. He may also have improved ventilation for a further 5% boost to his crew skills, and we're going to just assume, since he's got a mark of mastery on the barrel of this thing, that he's got a 100% crew. So with a base rate of fire of 1 shot every 8 seconds, if you take those things into consideration, he's probably actually firing a shot every 6.75 seconds. Assuming all those things are true, and they probably are, that would give him a damage per minute of 3,465.89. Assuming, furthermore, that he has brothers in arms on this crew, and that's not completely outside the realms of possibility. Don't forget this is a premium tank destroyer, and people use premium tank destroyers not just for farming credits, but also for training the crews of other tank destroyers of the same nation. If that's the case, then he has a shot leaving the barrel of this gun every 6.61 seconds. And that will give him a damage per minute of 3,542.5. Now, while he's executing this Sherman Firefly with 2 shots, let's just put that into perspective for you. That's 200 to 300 damage per minute better, depending on crew skills, than the Object 268 Tier 10 tank destroyer, even if the Object 268 is fitted with a gun rammer and improved ventilation. That's nearly 400 damage per minute better than the Guerilla 15 Tier 10 German tank destroyer, if fitted with a gun rammer. That's nearly 600 damage per minute better than the Jagdpanzer E100, even if it's fitted with a gun rammer and improved ventilation. And just to add insult to injury, this thing only uses a medium caliber tank gun rammer, not a large caliber tank gun rammer, despite the fact that it's got a hoofing great 122mm gun on it, so you even save money setting this thing up. But the gun in and of itself is not what makes this thing overpowered, although it might. No, it's the maneuverability and the armour, in combination with that gun, that makes this thing overpowered. In the hands of somebody who knows what to do, just look at this thing go. Don't forget, this is the chassis of a T-44. It's got medium tank maneuverability, and from the front, it's got pretty good armour as well. Normally, you come across a tank destroyer with a casemate fixed forward-firing gun, and all you have to do is get around him and he's dead. Well, good luck getting around this thing, because it will run circles around you. That Sherman really does not want to be sitting there. This is not going to end well for him. The AT-2 tried to do whatever he could, but Well, he just doesn't have the rate of... Well, he's got the rate of fire, but he doesn't have the damage output. And he even bounced some of the shots from the rear at this thing. And suddenly, Ghost of the Past is on 9 kills. And he got most of those in the last minute. All that's left is a Tiger. And he's on perilously low health. There's a Pools medal up for grabs. Get on top of the ridge. Take your time. Hello, Mr. Tiger. Where do you think you're going, sunshine? Wait for it. And there's the Pools medal. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. And it's not that difficult to get your hands on it. It's not like the USS Flint in World of Warships, which is ridiculously broken, but in order to get one, you first have to finish ranked 1 in 3 separate seasons of World of Warships ranked battles. It's not like the Imperator Nikolai I in World of Warships, which is only available during very special events, and just about the only way you can get your hands on it now is to get lucky with a loot crate. No, if you want Stalin's hammer, well, it's on sale right now in the premium shop. Just flash your credit card, and this thing can be yours. So whip that credit card out and feast on the tears of your enemies. And remember, all proceeds go towards funding drugs and hookers for wargaming employees. Don't be shy, flash that credit card today. And that's it for today's World of Tanks video. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least been amused by it. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.